Hey everybody, welcome to Hills and Gills. If you're new to the channel, guys, thanks for stopping by. And everybody subscribing, I much appreciate each and every one of you that's helping our little channel grow, giving us thumbs up. We have been doing a series on some of our favorite jig ties. We're going to be bringing some fly ties, some streamer ties as well as we go down the line. Links down in the description if you want to check the playlist out on what we've done so far. And we're going to be bringing some big musky jigs to you too, and like a sucker pattern, like a big shad pattern as well, and maybe even some hog mollies too. But today we're going to be tying a jig up for those old walleye. We have got a lot of southern walleye in our rivers around here in eastern Kentucky, and the push is about to begin for them. And this jig that I'm about to show you here is just not good for walleye. It's a killer for those smallmouth too. And it's nothing more than a good old orange and black bucktail, 1/4 ounce round jig head here. Got a hackle feather kick tail off the back of it right there. And if you don't want to go with a hackle feather, throw you a grub on there or a curly tail like a black or orange. Maybe set it up with a minnow or a little piece of nightcrawler. But it is a killer pattern for those walleye out there and smallmouth. So guys, without any further ado, let's tie up the old tiger jig. Okay guys, let's get this 1/4 ounce tiger jig tied up here for walleye. As always, we're going to go over everything that we need. This is a round ball jig head here that we poured. I started out on the paint. I done a white primer coat of LA Colors 164. It's got the hardeners in it. And then that just makes that orange pop out. This is called Wristband by LA Colors. You can just see how bright that orange is. And then I took a permanent marker. This is a Milwaukee, a Sharpie will work if you want to do that, or you can just leave it orange. And I went around it and just laid some stripes on it for a little bit of character. And then I hit the jig head with some UV resin. I hit it with my UV light. If you don't have a light, then you can just take it out on a sunny day and hit a cure in a matter of seconds, really. And the thread that we're using, this is by Do It. This is a black A that we're going to be doing this tie with here today. So we'll just run it all the way down till we feel the click of the tip of that hook. We'll back up about a 1/4 of a way back up. And the first thing we're going to add, if you've watched any of my videos, we're going to be adding the orange hackle feathers. I like adding hackle, whether it's crappie jig, white bass, smallmouth, whatever, just to give it a little action when I'm popping it along. If you don't have any, you can go with a grub, maybe like a black or orange curly tail, as I call it, and that'll be more than enough. But I've already stripped the feathers off of it, as you can see here, exposing some of that stem. And I want this to lay back about 1 inch to 1.5 inches off the back of the bend of that hook. So we're going to just lay him down here. I'm going to trim a little bit of the stem off right here. And then we're going to give him a couple of loose wraps here just to see where we're at with him in case he tries to spin around on the shank. We want it laying right on top of it. That looks pretty good. And then we'll give him a couple of tight wraps back up toward the jig head. That's looking good right there. And then we'll just tie this hackle in right here. We'll get him tied in good. This is going to be a walleye jig. This will work excellent for smallmouth too, if you like smallmouth fishing. And now I like taking a little bit of Loctite super glue, where this is for bigger fish, unlike crappie or any kind of brim or anything like that. And then I'll just take a spent old paintbrush and I'll just rub a little bit of that in, rubbing it all around that thread there, locking in that hackle feather. Just a little reinsurance right there. Now the next thing we're going to add is right up here on top. We're going to be going with some orange bucktail right here. It's not going to take much. This is a #1 hook on a 1/4 ounce jig head, so you don't have to get a gob of bucktail. You know, no need in wasting it. Just a small pinch will do the job on these type jigs like it's right here. Just about like that right there. So we'll go ahead and get this cut. And now comes the fun part. We're going to have to stack it down because I just want it to go just a little bit past the barb of that hook. So I'm going to take the longer hairs and just start stacking them down. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. So we're going to go ahead and just measure this up and get him cut. So we got that trimmed up. It don't take very much at all. We're going to lay this right on top the shank of that hook. We're going to give him a couple of loose wraps, and then we'll give him a couple of tight wraps just to lock him in. See where we're standing at with him. Spin him around a little in case he's trying to spin on me. That's looking pretty good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more wraps, just getting him locked in, keeping him in place. Now the next thing we're going to do is spin him around here, and we are going to add herb black to it. So we got some black bucktail here. Again, very little is all we need on this 1/4 ounce jig tie here. So I'll just pinch me off a little pinch of it. Measure them up here. And then do a little stacking also with this hair right here now. That looks pretty good, so we'll just measure him up here. And then we're going to lay him right on top of that orange herb, right up against that jig head. We're going to give him a couple loose wraps again, and then we're going to give him a couple tight wraps. At this point, we'll flare him out here, making sure that we got him good where we need him. That's looking real good right there for this river walleye jig. And at this point now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to tighten him down. There we go. Now we'll spin him back over here to whip finish. So the way I'm going to whip finish is usually I go 5 and 5 on my bigger jigs. Tighten him down, and then we're going to hit him with 5 more turns. And then I'll wrap it around my finger, not breaking the thread, but just seating him down there. And the last thing we need to do on this little jig right here is we need to add some good old Loctite super glue, and we're going to add 1 good drop right on top of that collar, and then we're just going to work it around with the end of this paintbrush here. That's going to allow it to lock in, and it's not going to go anywhere. If you want to use Sally Hansen hard as nails, that'll work great as well. Well, guys, there you go. The little tiger jig for those walleye. Just a hint of black on it with that orange and that hackle feather just to make it pop out. This is a killer combination right here for those walleye. And we got the southern run that's getting ready to hit here in our rivers. So I hope you stay tuned for that. We're going to be bringing some walleye fishing to you. And, yeah, if you like the video, I hope you give us a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe to our channel. A whole lot more jig tying coming down the road. Plus, we got a playlist down there with all of our other jig ties from brim, going to be up to muskie, as well how to remove collars off jigs, a simple way to do that, and how we pour jigs and stuff. Until next time, guys, stay safe out there on the water, and we'll see you right here in the next one.